Hey, welcome back to Pixels and Pines. I'm George, and today we're doing a special wrap up for September because let me tell you, this month has been a ride. The last few weeks have been full of lessons, both outdoors with the green team and indoors with games. Some days went smoothly, others didn't, but that's the kind of the point of today's episode. Here is the timeline. On the 1st of September, I took the day off to rest because I was sick and I was recovering from it. On the 3rd of September, we started off with some paperwork, but the college went into a lockdown before we could even head outside. On the 8th of September, there was more paperwork, then we went outdoors at last. We tackled a ton of dens, including a massive one, and had the word of the day, RAP, respect, aware, prepared. On the 10th of September, we finished clearing the dens, but I got caught in the thing I hate most, brambles. Then on the 15th of September, it was too windy to work outdoors, so we did paperwork and then went on a magical mystery tour around Cambridgeshire, Bottisham Airfield Museum, Bartlow Church, the Three Hills, a shell garage for lunch, and then two more churches. On the 17th of September, the plan was for me to be in the studio, but that didn't happen. Sometimes plans shift, and you just got to roll with it. And then the 22nd of September, it was a really solid green team day. We were back outside taking down dens and then raking up leaves and twigs to clear the area properly. On the 24th of September, we tackled a thick bramble hedge, opening it up to make an area for emergency access. And on the 29th of September, we were back on the dens again, another round of clearing and teamwork. So today's episode is about rest, resilience, and RAP, and how those three words shaped the whole of September, from brambles to battle royales. Let's start with the 1st of September. I stayed home to rest. At first, it felt frustrating, like I was falling behind. But the more I thought about it, the more I realised that taking time off is actually one of the most important parts of progress. In games, you don't keep playing at 1 HP. In Fortnite, if you're down to no health and no shields, you stop, heal up, and then rejoin the fight. Charging in at half strength doesn't make you a hero. It just gets you sent back to the lobby faster. Same thing in Rocket League. If you're low on boost, you can't just keep diving for aerials. You pull back, grab a pad or two, and get yourself ready to make the next big play. And in Animal Crossing, when you step away for a while, your island doesn't disappear. Sure, you come back to weeds and villagers with something to say, but that reset makes the game feel fresh. That day reminded me of when I once kept forcing myself to grind Rocket League matches when I was tired. Instead of climbing, I spiraled down, losing rank after rank. I wasn't respecting my own limits. Taking the first off was the opposite, a real-world reminder that sometimes initiative isn't about pushing forward, it's knowing when to stop, recharge, and come back stronger. Then came Wednesday the 3rd of September. We came in ready to go, but instead of heading straight outside, we had to do paperwork. Not exciting, but necessary. It reminded me of preparing your inventory in Minecraft before heading into the nether. Tedious? Maybe. Essential? Definitely. You don't want to head into a lava-filled cave with no food and a wooden pickaxe. But then, the unexpected. The college went into lockdown. Everything stopped. The mood shifted. For a while, we just had to wait. And that waiting, that tension, reminded me of those unpredictable game moments. like in GTA 3, when you're cruising through the city, music blasting on head radio, and suddenly the cops are on you, wanted stars pop up, and you're in a chase you never asked for. You go from relaxed to chaos in a second. Or in Among Us, hide and seek, where you're quietly doing tasks, and suddenly the seeker is right there. The whole piece of the game changes, and your only job is survival. That's what lockdown felt like, a total change of the script. Here's a rhetorical question for you. How do you keep calm when everything suddenly changes? For me, the answer is awareness. You focus on what you can control, not what you can't, and that mindset shows up both in games and real life. In Fortnite, I once ignored my awareness and tunnel visioned on a single opponent. I got so locked in that I didn't notice the storm moving in, and it ended my game. The lockdown was similar. It forced me to zoom out, be aware of the bigger picture, and not just the moment in front of me. Then came the 8th of September. We started with more paperwork, but this time we did get outside, and there were loads of dens waiting for us. Some small, some sturdy, and one that was just huge. It took teamwork, patience, and a lot of energy to bring it down safely. The satisfying part was seeing the progress. One by one, each den disappeared. The logs moved, the space cleared. It reminded me of clearing levels in a game. You look back and realise how far you've come. But the highlight wasn't just the work. It was the word of the day. RAP. Respect, aware, prepared. That word summed up the whole session. Respect the environment. Don't just take it for granted. Same thing as respecting your teammates in Rocket League or your opponents in Fortnite. Aware of your surroundings, whether that's sticks falling in the woods or enemy sneaking in game. Awareness keeps you alive. Prepared for the task. Tools ready, mindset ready. The same way you don't drop into Fortnite without checking your loadout. Taking down the massive den was like a raid boss in a game. It was tough, but it was time consuming, and it demanded all three parts of RAP. Respect kept us from rushing or making it unsafe. Awareness let us spot weak spots in the den, and preparedness meant we had the right tools and teamwork to get it done. Without RAP, that den would have been a disaster. On the 10th of September, we wrapped up the dens, job done, area cleared. But then came the next challenge. Me and a few others decided to go through a ditch, and I ended up caught in one thing I hate most, brambles. Now if you've ever been caught in brambles, you know the deal. They snag, they scratch, they hold you back. And that got me thinking. Sometimes life throws brambles at you too. They're not big boss battles, but they're annoying obstacles that test your patience. Games are full of bramble moments. In Rocket League, it's those matches where everything bounces the wrong way. In Fortnite, it's falling to your death because you ran out of mats. In Minecraft, it's dropping into lava with a full inventory. As frustrating as those brambles were, they taught me something. RAP applies even in the littlest things. Respect the challenge, be aware of where you're stepping, and prepare. Maybe don't take the ditch route next time. Looking back at the whole stretch from the 1st to the 10th, I can see how RAP tied everything together. On the 1st, I respected myself enough to rest. On the 3rd, I practiced awareness in a lockdown. On the 8th, I prepared with paperwork and teamwork for the huge dens. And on the 10th, brambles reminded me that even the small obstacles test patience and persistence. Games mirror this too. In Rocket League, respect the rotation and your teammates. In Fortnite, awareness of the storm and builds wins fights. In Minecraft, preparation makes the difference between thriving and dying. In Animal Crossing or Big Farm, respect, awareness and preparation keeps your world thriving, little by little. Here's another rhetorical question. What do you do when things don't go your way in games or in life? For me, the answer is simple. You wrap it out. Respect, stay aware, be prepared, and then you reload, reset, and keep going. On the 15th of September, it was too windy to do our usual outdoor work, so after a bit of paperwork, we went on what was called a magical mystery tour around Cambridgeshire. Our first stop was Bottisham Airfield Museum. We stayed on the minibus while we got told about the history of the place, a reminder of the past and the effort of those who came before us. Respect in action. Next, we drove to Bartlow and visited St Mary's Church. Then we explored the Three Hills, ancient burial mounds that hold centuries of history. That was awareness for me, looking at the landscape differently, noticing the layers of time. After that, we stopped at a Shell garage for a lunch break, and then we went on to see 2 more churches at another location. That to me was preparation, pacing ourselves, recharging, and finishing the tour strong. The magical mystery tour wasn't just a fun day out, it was that again. Respect for history, awareness of what's around us, and preparation to keep moving forward. On the 22nd of September, we were back outdoors, taking down more dens. Once those were handled, we switched gears, raking up leaves and twigs, tidying the area properly. It reminded me of games like Minecraft or Animal Crossing, where sometimes progress isn't about the big builds or the major projects. It's about the small, steady maintenance. Clear the weeds, organize the chests, rake up the mess. Those little steps keep the bigger picture looking good. Or even in Rocket League, when cleaning up your rotations and fixing small mistakes can change the whole match. Or in GTA, where the side missions, the taxi runs, the deliveries might not be flashy, but they keep the world ticking along. And again, Rap tied it all together. Respect the process, be aware of the small details, and prepare to put in the time for the finishing touches. Just 2 days later, on Wednesday the 24th of September, we tackled something different, a thick bramble hedge. The goal was to open it up and make an area for emergency access. It wasn't glamorous work. Brambles scratch, tangle, and fight back. But it was important. Games do this too. Sometimes the most valuable progress isn't adding, it's clearing. In Minecraft, you dig tunnels for safe passage. In Fortnite, you edit builds to open escape routes. And in Rocket League, you clear the ball from your goal to protect your team. I remember getting snagged more than once on those brambles, but pushing through felt worth it, because by the end you could see the new access route, open and ready. That's when you realise, removing barriers is just as valuable as building something new. And finally, on Monday the 29th of September, we were back on the dens again. It might sound repetitive, but it reminded me of how games bring us back to familiar challenges. In GTA, you grind missions to get cash or gear. In Rocket League, you queuing to rank again and again to improve. In Animal Crossing, each new day has the same routines: weeds, fossils, conversations. But it's not boring, it's practice, it's resilience. Every time you clear another den, the space looks better, cleaner, more usable. Just like in games, progress is incremental, but it adds up. There was one den that felt impossible at first, but with teamwork and pacing, it came down faster than expected. That's the same feeling as winning a Rocket League match that you thought was lost, or clutching a Fortnite fight with just a silver of health left. Recently, I watched an episode of 24 Hours in Police Custody called Murder is No Game. It was one of the hardest episodes I'd ever seen, a triple murder in Luton, all tied to an 18-year-old who had become completely absorbed by violent online material. The case was horrifying. Police found a mother and her 2 children dead. The suspect, her eldest son, had planned a mass shooting and even bought a shotgun on the dark web with a fake certificate. He spent months watching and researching mass shooting videos, violent content, and playing games that simulated real tragedies. He idolized school shooters, studied their routines, and wanted to be famous for killing the most children. That episode hit hard because it showed what happens when fantasy replaces empathy. Now, as someone who loves games like Fortnite, Rocket League, GTA, and Animal Crossing, I know that gaming itself doesn't make someone violent. Millions of players around the world game every single day without ever harming anyone. But the danger appears when someone becomes isolated, obsessed, and misled by violent media. When games cross the line into simulating real-world tragedies, like those banned titles that tried to recreate school shootings, that's not art, that's exploitation. And when people already struggling emotionally find that material, it can fuel dangerous fixations. That's where rap comes back in. Respect the power of media. It can influence emotions and behaviour. Awareness of what you consume and how much time you spend on it. Preparedness to step away or talk to someone if it starts feeling wrong. For me, watching that case was a wake-up call. Games can inspire, connect, and even heal, but only when we treat them with respect and awareness. They should bring us together, never tear us apart. So that's it for episode 6 of Pixels and Pines. It's been a mix of sick days, paperwork, lockdowns, massive dens, brambles, a magical mystery tour, raking leaves, clearing bramble hedges, more dens, and even a look at how awareness matters in the darker sides of gaming. Through it all, one idea ties everything together. RAP. Respect, awareness, preparedness. Whether you're caught in brambles making emergency paths or navigating what media you consume, those 3 words still carry weight. Thanks for tuning in. Next time we'll dive into more stories, more games, and maybe a few lighter topics too. Until then, be respectful, stay aware, and always be prepared.